All right, what's up and welcome to the channel. My name is Headshot and thank you for joining us. Today we have the SP5 on the table. I'm going to give you all of my thoughts on this awesome pistol from H&K. Very iconic pistol. And if you're a Call of Duty player like myself, you just cannot help but fall in love with this thing, man. It's so iconic, from movies to video games. It's just everywhere, man. It's everywhere, and most people are familiar with it, even if you're not into firearms. So it's a very cool, nostalgic type of firearm, and we actually have one here to show you. Thank you to our shot team over on Patreon for helping us choose this firearm. It was basically their choice. At least majority chose this one. And if you'd like to help us choose maybe our next one or be a part of some of the cool perks we have, so you can come check us out for as little as $1 a month and support the channel at the same time. So it's pretty cool. We'd love to have you over there. And these are our $5 and up patrons. Just a little perk that I give those guys, just as a little bit of recognition in the beginning of the video and at the end of the video as well. So I appreciate all your support. And if you want to subscribe here on YouTube, we'd love to have you and help us push to 200,000 subscribers. Thank you for your support, and let's go ahead and get started. So the Heckler & Koch SP5, one cool thing you're going to get for your almost $3,000 is this awesome bag, man. And it really is an awesome bag. I'm not being facetious. I mean, this thing has pockets and molly attachments and buckles, and it's really, really a nice setup. And one other cool thing is it actually has a couple of different compartments. So this one here in the front, all right, well, there's another gun here, obviously. This is the Copperhead. I'll use that as a little bit of demonstration, but that's pretty cool. If you have a couple different pistols, you can obviously set these inside here. It's got pouches in here so you can store stuff. I mean, this bag is really, really awesome, actually. Let's open up the main compartment here. So with the gun, you're going to get a little screwdriver there so you can adjust your sights or take them off if you wish. It does come with a sling as well. I don't know where I put it, but I promise you it does come with it. And two 30-round mags, depending, of course, what state you live in. You can get the 10, 15, or 30-round mags. So let's get this bag out of the way, and I will show you the star of the show here. So it's kind of funny, when I first brought this gun home, when I picked it up from my FFL, I brought it home. And my oldest son, he's starting to get into this. He likes to come to the range with us every once in a while and shoot. It's funny because he's kind of more into the old, like World War II style firearms and stuff. But he plays video games, and I play Call of Duty as well. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. I grew up with it, and I'll probably always play. But the point is, my youngest son, he's not as into firearms and stuff. But I pulled it out of the bag, and he's like, I know what that is. That's an MP5. So it's one of these types of firearms, man, that pretty much everybody knows what it is right from the get-go. So it's something that a lot of people can relate with, which I think is a very cool thing. So let's talk about the ins and outs of this. I mean, this is a true SP5, and I am not the aficionado on MP5s and SP5s and SP5Ks or any of the variants, to be honest with you. I just know that I think this thing is awesome, and I am so glad that the shot team chose this one because I'm super excited about it. So what is it? So it is a German-made SP5 from H&K, made in their famous Oberndorf factory in Germany, and there's proof marks all over this thing. To let you know it is the real deal. So 9mm, obviously, 17.8 inches in overall length. It is a pistol, by the way. This is a pistol brace. This is not a rifle. This is not an SBR. Of course, it can be done as an SBR with the proper paperwork. Height is 8.66 inches. Barrel length is 8.86 inches. 5.1 pounds, that's unloaded. So a little bit over 6 pounds with a empty mag included there. Okay, MSRP $27.99, and yeah, I assume that everybody's pretty much getting MSRP out of these things. Let's start at the front here. So what's cool is, let's remove that mag real quick. So up here at the front, you actually have a threaded 1/2 by 28 adapter here. If you hear any kind of like, oh man, that sounds kind of kind of weird. Yeah, it's a little bit of sand. We started shooting at this new range, and it's a really nice place, but there's a lot of dust and stuff. So anyways, so 1/2x28 thread, or you have the tri-lug adapter there, which is pretty dang cool. Of course, you have the famous bolt, side locking bolt like this, that if you do this any other way, I don't think you're really using the gun correctly. Of course, you can slap that thing right home, and it's as satisfying as it looks and sounds. It's just awesome. This is all I did pretty much the first night or couple of nights when I got this thing home. It just did that right there. Super satisfying to do that. It has the traditional plastic style handguard, pretty wide handguard. I actually don't mind it, and there's a variety of accessories and stuff that you can get with this. But what I do like is the push pin style release on this. You have these pins right here that you can just push out, and then there you go. You can replace the handguard. It's super intuitive. I mean, this gun was designed in the 60s. Over 100 different variants. I mean, it's been used in SWAT, and of course the British, the SAS, which is where this thing really got popular, and then Die Hard and Call of Duty, and just all types of applications that this thing has been used in, and throughout the world. And you can see right here, of course, here's your 8.86 inch barrel, exactly like the MP5 as far as that goes. Again, more German proof marks, which I just think are awesome. I love German guns just for that fact, man. The proof marks are really great. So basically this comes back. This is a cold hammer forged barrel with cannon grade steel, and there's been reports of 100,000 rounds being shot out of HK style barrels, man, because it is true quality when it comes to that. I'm just going to leave that off just for a minute so you can get a good look of this stuff here. Of course, you have your front notched sight up here, bolt right there. And this bolt, it actually is fluted. It's a delayed roller blowback system. So basically you have two rollers on either side of that bolt. So when the pressure gets to an appropriate level, those rollers will begin to move backwards. And after the shooting part of the review, I'll talk about that recoil impulse so you get a better idea. But you can see the fluted chamber right there, which allows that bolt to come back. And it's supposed to be more reliable with that fluting there. Put this handguard back on. Again, it's super simple to do this. You just basically line it up like that, and then take your pin from this other side and push it through. How easy is that? One awesome thing that they did is they have the standard magazine button style release, but then you also have HK's true paddle magazine release, which is what true MP5s are excited about. I'm excited about that because that's what this gun is made for. And I guess with import laws and export laws, it was really kind of difficult for HK to get this variant into civilian hands, but they were able to do it, and I can really appreciate that. So your paddle style release, you have basically, it's not a true vertical style mag, obviously. You kind of, you push it up and back just a bit. You're not really rocking it in like an HK. You're just kind of pushing it in there and back just a tad there. Of course, 9mm, made in Germany. I mean, everything here is a German-made gun. Polymer lower here, ambidextrous safety. It's got the little pictogram on there, which I think is really, really a nice touch, obviously, like the MP5. Really wide safety, so we're gonna obviously take some up close pictures there for you, but it's really easy to get your thumb up there. Now I do have smaller hands, and this grip, with the way it's designed, for me, it's not the I can get to it. It's definitely easier sweeping it on than it is kind of trying to get that off, but there's enough of a cutout in this safety that I can kind of sneak my thumb up in there without breaking my grip too much. Trigger right here, I'll show you the weight, and we'll kind of talk about that after the shooting part of the review. Of course, I decided to go with this SB Tactical adjustable or collapsible style brace. I just think it gives it a nice overall short look when I want that. This thing was okay to install. It wasn't that bad, I guess, but I don't know. After shooting, we'll talk about that a little bit more, but basically what you have is you have a little adjuster here. So when you move that adjuster like this, you can pull back and it's got 3 different levels that you can adjust that on. Of course, you got your strap for your brace and all that good stuff there. And then if you want to add an optic, even though it's a 80-year-old design, you can actually do that with the little attachments here. I think B&T makes them. So if you wanted to do that, you can do that with this gun. For the rear sight, they decided to go with the pistol style notched rear sight right there. And then of course, coming around to this other side, pretty much everything that we have touched on. Now I did want to show you before we hit the range, I want to show you what this looks like compared to the SIG Copperhead, which is a more modern style pistol subgun, as some would call it, although it's not really a subgun. So these are different style braces, so we're not really going to focus on that. We're just really going to focus on where the receivers end, just to give you an idea. And you can see that the SP5 is quite a bit longer. Now, the Copperhead only has a 4.5-inch barrel, so that has a lot to do with it. But that gives you an idea of what they look like next to a Copperhead. If you may be looking at these two firearms, I'd really like to do a review or a comparison between these two. So if you want to see that comparison, leave me a comment down in the comment section below. Man, other than that, it breaks down really easily. I'm not going to do that. So basically back here, I have another one of those push pins. I'll take this attachment off all the way. I'd actually remove this all the way first. All right, just slide that all the way out. Take this off. It actually comes standard with a plastic cap and then a place to put your sling attachment to help you kind of easily shoot it like this if you don't have a brace to go with it. But anyways, so you'll have a plastic cap back here straight from the factory with that sling that you can attach. But then all your bolt carrier group and spring and everything just comes right out the back. It's super easy. Don't feel a need to do that. And again, this thing was super duper tight. When I said it wasn't that bad earlier, this thing was kind of a bear to put on the back. And I thought I was probably doing something wrong. Turns out they can just be kind of a bear sometimes. But anyways, that's that. This is the HKPDW brace that I am using, by the way, from SP Tactical. So there are the features and stuff of the SP5. I want to take y'all to the range with us, and then afterwards I will give you my opinion, what we thought about the SP5. We'll see y'all in a minute. All right, oh boy, the SP5 at the range. This is where this gun really shines, man. And let me show you the trigger, and then we'll talk about the shooting part of the review. Make sure we're clear, of course. Let's pull this sucker and see where it's pulling at. 7 pounds, 10 ounces. And one more time. Try this one more time. 8 pounds, 13 ounces. That's kind of a wide gap there. Hold on, let's try it one more time. 8 pounds, 12 ounces. I don't know what the manual says as far as the trigger. It's not the best in the world, but it's also not the worst. And I think for this kind of gun, it does okay. It's got kind of a plasticky feel to it. Got a little bit of take up. Nice wide trigger there. I mean, no real problems there. A little bit of take up. Creeps just a bit and it breaks. Okay, but right before that break, you get just that little bit of... There's your reset right there. Just a little bit clunky. And there you go, okay? So that's the trigger. But this gun shines at the range. I mean, it really does. And I think that the recoil impulse on this gun was absolutely amazing. The first shots I took of this, we do a signed target thing every quarter for certain tier patrons, okay? And that was the first shots that I took with this gun because I have a big HK fan over on Patreon. He wanted to see this. And that was the first thing I noticed was the recoil impulse and how flat shooting this gun was. It was very, very impressive. Using the gun, and it almost seems like for example, with the Copperhead, this is an AR style, so you have your AR style charging handle and all that good stuff and magazine release, and that's all well and good. I'm used to the AR platform, so I can appreciate that, and a lot of people are used to that, so that's what they want to stick with. I err on the side of what feels the best to me. You know, how does this gun feel? I can get used to anything, and for the kind of role that I think this gun is going to play for most people, which is going to be a range type of firearm. I don't know that many people will be hooking lights and lasers and things like that for home defense. Not saying that you can't, but I just don't know that a lot of people will be doing that. I think it's going to be one of those guns like, man, I have almost the real MP5, the real German-made SP5. I have one. Let's go to the range. Let's have a great time. That's the role that I think it plays the best in is at the range. Super soft shootings. But what I'm trying to get at is I think that a system like this with a side charging handle, even one that's not as great as the SP5, even talking about something like this PC charger from Ruger, which is a fine firearm, the bolt action on this feels a little bit short to me. You almost feel cheated in a way. You can't lock it back. But even this right here feels pretty good. It feels so much more intuitive to charge the gun like this in this pistol style format, or subgun if you will. To me, this just feels more intuitive than the AR style platform of the Copperhead and any other ones that may have that style. But the SP5 just does it better in every single way, it seems. So as that charger, you can't really lock it back or anything like that on the MP5. You can lock it back. You almost have to have that system because there is no last shot hold open. Okay, which is you know, fair enough. But it just seems like a more intuitive type of system. It just works fantastic, and I loved every aspect of that. And of course, a lot of it was nostalgia and playing video games since I was a kid and using this gun and seeing it in movies and all of this kind of stuff. That adds a big role into it as well. So that part of it, really love using it. The sights I don't mind as much. I think later on down the road, this may be my first SBR project that I actually do. I just think it deserves that role. Maybe suppressed. I don't know. We'll have to see how things look down the road. I mean, you're talking about possibly a $5,000 investment once you suppress it, put your optic on it, probably more. I don't know. You know, I mean, this stuff starts to add up. So anyways, I really love this platform. I love shooting it. It was a ton of fun at the range, and I really enjoyed that. This rear sight did a fine job. I can see what people are kind of, what they don't like about that, though. I can see how having a circle in the rear to look through to line up your notch in the front would be a little bit quicker, but using the pistol sights, I'm very used to that type of setup anyways. And it worked out pretty well. Okay, I felt like the gun was pretty dang accurate, at least at the ranges that we were shooting, which wasn't any more than 15 yards or so, 20 yards, whatever. So I think this did a fine job there. Now, one thing I don't know that I would recommend is the pistol brace. So basically what you have, I like the way this actually folds out. I think it's pretty cool. But the distance here, and obviously, according to the ATF, you can actually shoulder this. So trying to get down, and I'll show you a video at the range where it'll be a better representation, but trying to get down on this, I didn't have as much issue with it, but Mrs. Heckshot did not like this at all. My son actually did not like this at all. I just kind of got used to it, or made myself get used to it, because I'm shooting an SP5 and I want to enjoy that experience. But they were a little bit more realistic, and this system, I'm not a fan of this. I will eventually change this out, but this was not cheap. So eventually I'll have to change it out, but just not the biggest fan of this. It almost reminds me of the original Copperhead brace, but that one just seemed to be a little bit smaller and a little bit easier to get down on. Of course, this does have a red dot on it, so you don't have to go down quite as low. And I think that's an issue with this as well. So if this one actually had an optic on it, the SP5 I'm referring to, then this probably wouldn't have been as much of an issue to those guys. I just think it was a combination of a couple different things there. So, but even then, this brace from SIG to me is definitely a better style brace. A little bit more surface area here, it seems, and just a little bit more comfortable to get down on and line up your sights like that. So that was our only real complaint. So I think as far as the cons on the gun, I definitely would rather have a window to look through instead of the notch here in the rear. That can easily be fixed though. I think the base price is a little high. Some people may not say that. Some people that have been into MP5s and stuff, knowing how pricey they can be, it's just, to get into a platform like this, man, it's a lot of money, and there's just no doubt about it. So that's kind of a con there. The safety, I actually don't mind using as much, but I found it easier just for me personally, without breaking my grip, to use my left hand. That's probably not the right way to do this, but I find it easier to sweep this off than to sweep it on. Sometimes I just find it hard, and I have smaller hands too, so whatever, it is what it is. But sweeping it off is not a problem. Just getting it back on, I just found myself doing that most of the time. Other than that, man, I just think it's an awesome, soft shooting, amazing range gun that has so much nostalgia to it, and I love it, man, and I can't wait. Not only am I glad to have it in my collection, but I can't wait to compare it to some of these other firearms and tell you what I think about it. So I want to hear what your opinion of the SP5 is down in the comments below. And if you are a patron or a power patron or up, look for your special outro coming right after this. The SP5, man, glad to have it. Thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next one. And as always, hold 'em down.